Hey yo guys, I'm here to give you my UFC 91 pay-per-view predictions as well as my Ring of Honor driven pay-per-view review. Gotta say, really looking forward to tonight's UFC 91 pay-per-view. It's in one of the greatest fight cities in the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's got one of the most important fights maybe in the history of MMA, or obviously in the history of MMA, and I'm just stoked about it. It's even also as well the Florian Joe Stevenson fight. That's going to be really good as well. And the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which took place last night, was really another great pay-per-view. I mean, it's basically highway robbery that they're just charging you 10 to 15 bucks to put on, shows with this great quality wrestling. So, I mean, it's always a bundle of a deal that when you get Ring of Honor on pay-per-view. So, anyways, go through the UFC 91 pay-per-view predictions first, since they are tonight from the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, with obviously the most hyped up fight of the year in MMA history, Brock Lesnar versus Randy Couture for the UFC Interm-Heavyweight Championship. Really good fight. Anyways, let's get to the pay-per-view predictions here. First fight of the night is a welterweight bout between Dustin, Hazelett, and Tamdan, McCrory. Really, this fight gets to be televised now. It was just supposed to be on the undercard, but due to Amir Stadala suffering a staph infection, they had to drop his fight, so this fight gets televised, which is a really good fucking thing. I'm really psyched about this one. Basically, I'm going to have to go with Dustin Hazelett here. I feel, he's in a big fight situation with the tougher opponents. He can handle that well. Whereas, McCrory just came off a decision victory over not the greatest Luke Kumo. And, I think Hazlett's just got the better on the ground game at all. So I just feel he'll take this one second round. And he's just, a star to watch in the making here in the welterweight division. So he could be a contender in the not too future for St. Pierre's Welterweight Championship, so look out for Dustin Hazelett submission second round. Then we move over to the next fight, which is a middleweight fight between Demian Maia and Nate Quarry. Really looking forward to this one, as Quarry, I mean, he's coming back, still coming off that back injury, which was extremely brutal. He had to go through that awful fight, which was not fault at UFC 83 against Caleb Starnes, and he's trying to get things going again still. I mean, I believe he's picked up another victory. I can't remember at this moment, but I know he's in for a real tough test here against Demian Maia, who has some of the best, maybe the best jiu-jitsu. You could maybe make an argument in all of mixed martial arts. It's so pure, it's so smooth. He had that great wrestling battle at UFC 87 with Jason the Athlete McDonald, which crowd going, which is something amazing, since a lot of people hate the ground game, since the sport of MMA has gotten that explosion. It got this basically a standing ovation, and it was just a stunning thing here. So how do I look at this fight? Well, you see, eventually the fight's going to go to the ground with Demian Maia. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Demian Maia will take you to the ground, and I don't think Quarry's ready for that type of jiu-jitsu to be brought on him. I expect this fight to be ended submission round one, Demian Maia, and Demian Maia could be a great contest for Anderson Silva for the middleweight belt. I think Anderson Silva's next fight should be up at light heavyweight. I don't know who his opponent would be, but it should be at light heavyweight, and then he should make a title defense against Demian Maia. It will be a really interesting fight. Two guys that are just so technically sound at great aspects of the game, and I'm looking forward to this one, and Demian Maia once again to win submission first round. Then we move over to the next fight, which is Gabrial Gonzaga versus Josh Hendricks. And all I gotta say is, why is this on pay-per-view? I mean, seriously. Gabrial Gonzaga will just destroy Josh Hendricks here. He's a more superior fighter. Gabrial Gonzaga, knockout round one. That's simple as that. It should not be on the pay-per-view. You should not have been able to pay your $44.95 to see this on there. I mean, that's just a waste of something on there. I know you're not buying it for this fight, but still. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's other stuff that you could have put on here. Jesus Christ, I don't want to see this Gabrial Gonzaga fight. He's just going to destroy Josh Hendricks, like I said. Knockout first round. And then we go kind of to the double main event here, as Florian versus Joe Stevenson is a really underlooked fight. I think both guys are really, really strong. It's just a really underlooked fight. I mean, there's just been so much hype with Lesnar versus Couture. You forget about, you know, an actual other good fight on this pay-per-view, or a couple good other fights, especially like this fight here. Anyways, how do I see this one? Well, Kenny's been actually, you know, been able to get some good game plan fighting, and I think he's gonna get a good game plan, be able to, you know, use his height advantage on Stevenson to frustrate Stevenson, and that's gonna make Stevenson, you know, lose track of his game, and then that's gonna let that fall into Florian's game plan here, and Florian's gonna, you know, get the victory there, probably submission or knockout in either late second or third round. Don't see this one being a decision. I mean, Stevenson, he's great on the ground too, especially he's one of the most nastiest guillotine chokes in all of mixed martial arts, but I just think, you know, Florian has been able to develop how to fight with a game plan. He's going to probably use that very well to his advantage, and also use his, you know, striking and submission game and get a victory there. So, winner Kenny Florian. Submission probably late third round, or early third round I should say. And then we go to the main event, the fight everyone is looking forward to. It's been getting coverage anywhere you basically on your television, on especially ESPN in the States. Really anywhere. It was talked about on TSN's Off the Record with Michael Landsberg and Gary Goodrich. Really, how do you look at this fight? This is going to be a really good. You got the veteran Couture, who, you know, he knows how to get a game plan going, and, you know, how to beat people when, you know, he's always the underdog, and he's going up against Brock Lesnar, who's this animal. He's quick, he's got striking power, and, you know, he can, you know, control a fight whenever he wants it. But Couture is also a good wrestler, but he's not, you know, as good as, you know, Lesnar. Lesnar is someone who's a superb wrestler, and his strength is just impeccable. But how do you look at this? I mean, this is a 5-round fight. I don't know about 100% about Lesnar's cardio. I mean, I know he had good cardio from, you know, his time in the WWE, working, you know, 20 to 30-minute matches basically a night. But it's been some time since those days. So I don't know how he can handle the, you know, 5-round situation here. I don't know if he's got the same type of cardio. Couture we know does. I mean, Couture's just a cardio machine for a guy his age. How do you see this? How do I see it happening? I just see Couture, you know, he's in a position where everyone's doubting him, and that's where I think Couture loves to be. He loves being the underdog, so I have to pick Couture, probably to end this one in the 4th round, either by knockout or submission. I mean, if this fight it's Brock controlling in the early stages, let's hopefully he doesn't make the same mistakes with Frank Mir, where, you know, he had Mir basically just giving him these little hammer shots. If he would use full-blown ground and pound, he'd have to beat him. Also, hopefully he doesn't have fun in there like he was having with Heath Herring, because I'm telling you right now, don't try and have fun with Randy Couture, because Couture will come out there and, you know, bite you in the ass for that, Brock. So he'll beat you there. Interesting little note. I mean, this has nothing really to do with. I mean, this isn't the first time Randy Couture has fought someone who used to work for Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation or WWE. His very first fight, Randy Couture's, was against Tony Halm at UFC 13. And who is Tony Halm, you ask? Well, that was Ludwig Borga, the Helsinki Nightmare from the Finnish Flash, basically, from Finland, who was a monster heel. He was supposed to win the world title. But anyways, that has nothing to do with this fight. I just thought it was kind of an interesting fact that, you know, this is the second time fighting a guy that used to be in the realm of pro wrestling. I just thought that was cool. But anyways, I think if, you know, if Lesnar can, you know, impose his will, use his speed and quickness at the beginning of the fight, Couture could be in trouble. And I just hopefully Brock has learned how to finish a fight, because he had Mir beat. He could have probably finished Mir Herring off earlier in the fight, but he was just having fun, and I just don't. Hopefully, he doesn't take that mentality into this fight, and because I see Couture winning, I just think Couture knows how to have a game plan, how to shock the world, and he's gonna probably do that with Lesnar and still be the UFC Heavyweight Champion. All in all, really looking forward to it. You'll see my review for this show tomorrow. Anyways, then we move over to Ring of Honor's pay-per-view. Ring of Honor place last night. It was taped from Boston. It was a really good show. Anyways, let's get to it. I mean, we started the pay-per-view off with Austin Aries in the ring cutting a promo saying basically that he wanted a piece of Jimmy Jacobs and he was going to have to do anything to get his attention. And this brought Jimmy Jacobs out trying to say, oh, you're trying to steal what we did at the last pay-per-view, or I believe it was the last, I think it was the last pay-per-view where Jimmy Jacobs and them were just out there talking. Or I think it was Respect Is Earned 2 where they were out there. It was Respect Is Earned 2, yes, where they were out there talking at the beginning of the show, trying to say he was ripping off that. But anyways, moving on here, and you had brought Delirious out, who, by the way, was dressed completely up in this black getup, and it was just looked awesome. I really like this match here as Delirious, he looked like a serious contender. I mean, he's always been, this comedy character. He was a good in-ring worker, and you put him in, feuds that were interesting but didn't really go anywhere. Now with this Age of the Fall, he seems like, a missing link type character where he's just a monster under someone's control. But, I mean, he just has this vicious side to him, which really works for Delirious here. I like how he's, added an innovation on the panic attack where he, instead of just charges at you straight with the knee, he just throws a knee in there. I like this. It was a good match and all. Delirious looked strong for it. I mean, the finish came out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, but, I mean, it was a good finish, and Aries got the win, and this led to Jacobs jumping on him. And, Jacobs hit the senton off the rope through a table on the floor, and that Tyler Black was like, "What are you doing? You're hurting our chances in the match." Anyways, so there was something to think about there when you go into the main event. Anyways, then we went to the next match, which was Sarah Del Rey versus Jessie. Complete squash match. This thing went about 3 minutes, and all you can really say is that they didn't really get to showcase Del Rey's talents at all, which, is bad. I'm disappointing since, everyone's raving about TNA's knockout division. Well, you could show that Sarah Del Rey is someone that the TNA knockout division could really, really use. Anyways, Del Rey got the win there, and I really like Del Rey's Bull Nakano look. Anyways, brought out the Brent Albright and Erick Stevenson to take on Sweet and Sour's Adam Pearce and Eddie Edwards. This was a good match. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, it actually still had the story of when Albright got his face burnt at the hands of Pearce, and they tried to they made the half Nelson suplex seem extremely credible when Albright tried to hit it on. Just got out of the way. It's like, whoa, that's a severely dangerous move. I really think Eddie Edwards gets to shine on pay-per-view again, which is always great because I think Eddie Edwards is one of the most underrated talents in all of pro wrestling today. Really good match. The build to the finish was nice with all chaos being broke loose. Pearce and Stevens were in there, and Stevens got whipped into the ropes, and Stevens just did a tope onto I believe it was Hero. It was on Edwards and I think on Hagedorn, and that let Albright get the half Nelson suplex on Adam Pearce, and they did a nice slow motion replay, and they got the win. Then we move over to the next match, which took away straight away, and actually has a nice little story behind it from the last pay-per-view, which was Jerry Lynn coming out saying he didn't like how Chris Hero attacked Lance Storm at the last pay-per-view. I thought that was unnecessary, and this built to this match. This was a really good match. I have to say is apparently Jerry Lynn just hates ROH. Man, he just hates them. I mean, why is he working there if he hates them, guys? I mean, the whole thing from the shoot interview was taken out of context. It wasn't talking about Ring of Honor fans. We're talking about the Philadelphia fans who have been always the most demanding fans in all wrestling. Look at Foley's promos in ECW from 1995. There you go. But anyways, and here, good match. I mean, Jerry Lynn just brought up the best in Chris Hero because, Chris Hero with this character has been really something strong. Lynn just seems revitalized to be working in Ring of Honor and having to work with all this new bunch of talent. It's been, it just is a really good match here. And, Hero got the win with the help of a, steel forearm pad, basically. And you know what? He got the win as a typical old heel, but I don't think that will add anything to him. But it was just a really good match. It brought the best out of Hero. Then we went on to the elimination match, which was Bryan Danielson versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Go Shiozaki. This was a good match. You had they had the story from how Claudio turned heel on Bryan Danielson. They showed the clips of that, which was good. You had Claudio's offense not looking the greatest, but then once he got disqualified and hit the Ricola bomb after he got disqualified and threw around the agents, it made it seem like a severe badass in Ring of Honor, which really, really good. I think that Claudio heel turn is going to be something great for him because he was kind of floundering there as a babyface in Ring of Honor for a very long time. And yeah, and then after the disqualification there in Castagnoli, Danielson and Go just tore the house down. They worked really well. These guys just have some awesome chemistry. And you had Danielson get the win on Go, I believe, with the elbows and strikes, and he got the victory there. And as per what Nigel said, that he had to beat everyone that he's beaten on pay-per-view. He did it. He beat 2 guys in 1 match. So that's obviously going to the next pay-per-view taping. It's going to be Danielson versus Nigel for the belt. So that's something really, really good there. Then we had a scramble match, which was the Briscoe brothers versus the Vulture Squad versus the YRR versus Team Necro. Oh yeah, by the way, Team Necro was just the Necro Butcher. This was just a fun little match. It was just a fun little flashy match. Just showed the Briscoes and the Necro Butcher making him seem like a badass. There was a bit of a CZW spot where the Briscoes set up chairs and Necro just, fell onto this massive pile of chairs. And then the Briscoes got the victory, and they continue to rebuild the Briscoes up since they missed that one pay-per-view. It was just a nice little match to showcase, the Briscoes, Vulture Squad, and I wish the YRR would have got some more time because Jason Blade working together are extremely well. Just this morning they didn't get some time in there, but it was still a fun little match. I mean, it's basically what you would expect from a TNA opener, something like that. It's just a good little match like that. Then we went on to the next match, which is for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Nigel McGuinness defending against Roderick Strong. This match was really slow to get into, but once it started picking up the pace, Roderick and Nigel worked extremely well there. I was happy to see Roderick get a chance at a title on pay-per-view. I think Roderick Strong's, one of the best workhorses in Ring of Honor today. And he just worked really well with Nigel. I mean, Nigel's a guy who has been able to, change his style and not affect his style. Ever since the concussion, he's been able to, change his style to prevent concussions and to still have these great matches. And he's developed this great heel. It's still going great. I mean, everyone believes that, Roderick could have got the victory there. I mean, especially when he hit the backbreaker using the top turnbuckle. That was pretty sweet. But then you had Nigel get the victory. And, Nigel still proves why he's having one of the best years in wrestling this year. So that's great and all. And I'm looking forward to probably Steel Cage Warfare at the end of the year with Roderick Strong, Albright, and Erick Stevenson. It's going to be Bobby Dempsey. You can just tell it's going to be Bobby Dempsey as their mystery partner. But anyways, then we went to the main event, which was Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black, or the Age of the Fall, versus Kevin Steen and El Generico. Fantastic tag match, up there top 2 tag matches this year. It took a while to get into. Once the Age of the Fall started getting the heat on El Generico, and Generico made that hot tag to Kevin Steen, this match was basically like a lucha libre Dragon Gate type style match where just boom, boom, boom. There was a great spot where Jimmy Jacobs had end time on Kevin Steen and Generico hit a Yakuza kick. Man, the crowd was just so hot for this match. They just believed that there should be a title change tonight. And you know what? There was. The finish was pretty damn sweet when you had Generico hit the Yakuza kicks on both Black and Jacobs, and that led to the package pile driver, brainbuster. Crowd pops for when the Age of the Fall get the victory. Overall, really good pay-per-view. Thumbs up. Highly recommend it. Get the replay and get it on DVD. It is available for pre-order on Ring of Honor's website. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.